Karen Whitmore stood in her pristine driveway at 6:47 a.m., measuring her neighbor's garbage can with a ruler while still wearing her pink silk pajamas and fuzzy slippers. The measuring tape showed 36 inches from the curb, a clear violation of the Maplewood Heights HOA's 34-inch maximum distance rule. She snapped 17 photos from different angles, her phone case bedazzled with tiny pearls that caught the morning sun like accusatory diamonds. "Gotcha, Henderson," she muttered, already composing the violation notice in her head. As the newly elected HOA president, by a margin of exactly one vote her own, Karen had transformed from merely difficult neighbor to the neighborhood's self-appointed judge, jury, and executioner of residential aesthetics. The second shocking moment came when she spotted Mrs. Chen's garden gnome peeking through the hedge that separated their properties. Not just any gnome. This particular ceramic abomination wore a tiny rainbow tutu and held a miniature pride flag. Karen's eye twitched. Section 4.27 of the HOA bylaws clearly stated that decorative lawn ornaments must maintain traditional aesthetic values consistent with community standards. She'd personally added that clause during last month's emergency board meeting, which only she had attended. Karen marched toward the offending gnome with the determination of a general storming enemy territory. Her slippers made soft shushing sounds against the dew-dampened grass, but her voice carried the authority of someone who'd once been a mall manager for 6 whole months. "Margaret," she called over the fence, "we need to discuss your situation." Mrs. Chen appeared at her kitchen window, coffee mug in hand, gray hair still messy from sleep. "Good morning, Karen. How's the measuring going?" "This isn't a joke. That gnome is in direct violation of—" "Oh, you mean glitter? My granddaughter gave him to me. Isn't he precious?" Karen's jaw clenched so hard she was sure Mrs. Chen could hear her molars grinding from across the yard. "His name is irrelevant. What's relevant is that he's creating an eyesore that affects all of our property values." "Property values?" Mrs. Chen laughed, a sound like wind chimes that made Karen's skin crawl. "Karen, dear, you do realize this neighborhood has a community garden shaped like a giant peace sign, right? And the Johnsons have had that rusted pickup truck on blocks for 3 years." The third shocking moment arrived in the form of a deep, rumbling growl that seemed to come from the very depths of suburban hell itself. Karen spun around to see Henderson's new dog, a massive German Shepherd mix that looked like it could bench press a Honda Civic, standing in the gap between 2 fence boards, staring directly at her with intelligent, amber eyes that seemed to judge her very soul. "Nice dog," she said carefully, taking a step backward. The dog tilted its head and let out another low growl, then did something that made Karen's blood run cold. It smiled. Not a friendly dog smile, but something that looked almost human, almost knowing. "That's Karma," Henderson called from his back porch, not bothering to hide his grin. "She's got excellent judgment about people." Karen decided this was war. By 8 a.m., she'd filed formal violation notices against 17 different properties, each one meticulously documented with photos, measurements, and detailed citations from the HOA handbook she'd personally rewritten during her first week in office. Her dining room table looked like a crime scene investigation board, covered with printed emails, architectural plans, and a color-coded map of the neighborhood with each violation marked in bright red ink. She'd already called the city's code enforcement office twice, left 3 voicemails for the county sheriff's non-emergency line, and was considering reaching out to the State Environmental Protection Agency about what she was sure had to be illegal composting activities in the Pattles' backyard. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister Jennifer in Phoenix. "How's retirement treating you?" Karen stared at the message for a long moment. Retirement. 6 months ago, she'd been the assistant manager at Bed Bath & Beyond, commanding respect from seasonal employees and enforcing return policies with military precision. Now she was, what? A neighborhood busybody with too much time and a dangerous amount of authority. No, she was a guardian of community standards, a protector of property values, a warrior against chaos and decline. Her doorbell rang. Through the peephole, she saw Henderson standing on her porch, and behind him, the towering figure of Officer Martinez from the local police department. Behind them both, at least 6 other neighbors had gathered on the sidewalk, including Mrs. Chen still clutching her coffee mug and looking thoroughly entertained. Karen smoothed her hair and opened the door with the confidence of someone who'd never been wrong about anything in her entire life. "Gentlemen," she said. "Perfect timing. I have several violations to report." Henderson's face was the color of a ripe tomato. "Karen, we need to talk about your activities this morning." Officer Martinez looked tired in the way that only comes from dealing with suburban disputes before his second cup of coffee. "Ma'am, we've received several complaints about harassment and trespassing. Would you mind explaining why you were on Mr. Henderson's property at 7 a.m. taking pictures of his trash can?" Karen felt the familiar surge of righteous indignation that had powered her through countless customer service battles. "I was conducting official HOA business in accordance with..." "Official business?" Mrs. Chen called from the sidewalk. "Karen, you measured my mailbox post with a tape measure while I was getting my newspaper. That's not official, that's creepy." The crowd murmured agreement, and Karen felt something she wasn't used to: uncertainty. But uncertainty was just another word for challenge, and Karen Whitmore had never backed down from a challenge in her life. She looked at Officer Martinez with the steely determination that had once made a grown man return a used towel set without a receipt. "Officer, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Perhaps we should discuss this inside, where I can show you the documentation that proves these people are systematically destroying our neighborhood's character and property values." Behind her, Karma let out another one of those unsettling growls, and Karen couldn't shake the feeling that somehow the dog was laughing at her. But as she led Officer Martinez into her meticulously organized living room, Karen smiled. They had no idea what they were up against. She'd spent 3 decades in retail management. She'd survived Black Friday shifts, Christmas returns, and the great bathroom towel shortage of 2019. A few disgruntled neighbors and one slightly menacing dog were nothing compared to what she'd already conquered. The real war was just beginning, and Karen Whitmore intended to win.